All aboard!
Hello everybody, I'm DurchBurch here at Pokemon News, and welcome back to Nintendo Hype Trains. I was intending to get all of these out a bit sooner. I kind of failed at that, making videos for my own channel and doing homework and so all of that kind of got in the way. Now lucky for me, I have enough time right now to be able to get you guys, some more hype train and whatnot. But anyways, so you've seen everywhere already. This is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So I did, as I think my second hype train, it was one of my first hype trains. One of the earliest ones was on X, which later was confirmed to be Xenoblade Chronicles X. And I was really excited for that. For a lot of reasons, really. I would say I was more excited for that than I am for this, but that really only comes from the fact that I haven't played the original Xenoblade. I've only played X, and I love X. So I'm hoping to be able to play this and really like it. So as far as we can tell from the story, there's not much known. Even in the script pieces that were shown in the background during the trailer and the clips we've seen, we really don't know much about the story other than the girl with the one emblem on her chest. It kind of looks like the Lifehold pieces from Xenoblade Chronicles X. She has a little glowy charm. She is the sword. She is the blade. There looks like there's other blades who are also physical human representation, or humanoid representation of the blades themselves, like the actual weapons. And it seems that she, is basically she is the blade of the main character, like the first girl they show off, a lot of the concept art and stuff. And a few other blades are here and there. I think we only have one other confirmed blade. But anyways, we really don't know much about the story. It's very vague what we do know. But I mean, it can be assumed that by the looks of it, you're playing on a giant being. That this time seems to be alive, unlike, I think it was Bionis is the one that you were on in the original Xenoblade Chronicles. So it seems that this time you're actually on a living being, because Bionis was not alive. Bionis was, I believe, like a long dead titan, basically. And I think the other one Mechonis? The one that Mechons came from, something like that. But yeah, it seems to be alive. It's very big. I mean, there's the one part where you see the city in the distance, and then the giant thing kind of looks like it turns its head. Looks like a creature with horns. Now it could be something else, but it looks a lot like you are riding on the back of a giant beast, like this massive creature. And I mean. If you are not on that, and that happens to be like an enemy or something, holy crap, the scale of enemies in the game is going to be insane. I don't see them going much further than Xenoblade Chronicles X in enemy scale, though. I mean, that was already pretty crazy. So I think that it's not an enemy, I think it's genuinely the thing you are on. But yeah, it's like, it looks big, there's a lot of open spaces that we've seen. Like, the scope of the game is pretty crazy. I don't know if it's going to be larger than Xenoblade Chronicles X. I don't know if I would want it to be, because if you look at X, you have scales. You have a very fast mode of transportation. I mean, your character run speed is pretty dang fast on its own. You're running at like 30-40 miles per hour. It's insane. Now, when you're running, or when you're in a scale and you're in like vehicle form, you're going really freaking fast. There is, you're going crazy fast in that game. Having you be in a larger world where you don't go that fast, I don't see how well that would go. I mean, going like through like Xenoblade Chronicles X has a massive world. Like it's, I think it's Daisy has a world. It's like over 100 square kilometers or square miles or something like that. I think it's kilometers though. Well, Xenoblade Chronicles X is over 200 square kilometers. Like, it is massive. I don't see them going bigger than that for this, especially if you're confined to being on a creature. If you're on a creature, there's no way it's going to be bigger than the area of Mira you're able to be on in X. So, I feel like it's going to be a bit smaller, but it's still going to be big, lots of open space. I mean, that's what the series is known for. I mean, Monolith Soft is known for these massive worlds. That's what they do. These massive, beautiful, living worlds. So there's also another really big creature shown off in the trailer, and that's the giant whale thing. Like, you know, that really beautiful zoom out in the trailer where the camera, kind of zooms out and then it zooms past the main character and the sword and all that, and like the giant massive tree in the distance is there, and then a whale bursts up through the clouds. It's freaking beautiful. Such a good shot in that trailer. I absolutely loved it. And that, beautiful shot just kind of goes to show, one, some of the scale of, the creatures in the game. The giant whale is massive. Absolutely massive. It is, I can guarantee, bigger than, pretty much anything you would find enemy-wise in Xenoblade Chronicles X. Like, there are no creatures, at least from what I have seen, that are that massive. It looks huge. But, there is kind of a nostalgia factor in that scene as well. It very closely mimics the box art of the original Xenoblade Chronicles, and I guess you could say to a degree Xenoblade Chronicles X, but I mean, X did not have, the sword in the ground. It just kind of had the, people on a ledge looking out over a large landscape. X being New LA in the distance, but it's much more reminiscent of the original Xenoblade Chronicles. That I feel like the box art could very easily be that scene with the sword there alone, because that's what the original game's box art was. I remember when I saw that, it really stood out to me. I remember that box art very vividly. I never bought the game, it wasn't in stores for long, but I remember that art, and I said, wow, there's something just perfect about that. And so I swear, if they do that again, it will get a huge amount of, like, nostalgia kicks, but also it's a very powerful image. It's much more powerful than all of the imagery you see in, like, modern game covers where it's main character, they're standing there, sometimes there's maybe a light on their face or a light on their body, but there's a main character standing there looking away or something like that. Or kind of turning their head back to look at you while facing. Like, it's so generic. All of it looks like that. And while I love, like, Breath of the Wild has great box art, its box art looks like that too. So it's like, if they go for the sword planted in the ground again, that is a solid piece of box art. It is so unique, and it's what that series uses. It's always the image of, someone or something looking out over a ledge at a landscape. And looking at Xenoblade Chronicles X, it's actually it's the title screen where you're looking out over New LA. On the box art, you're looking out over Primoria. And it's so beautiful. It is such good art. It's very solid. So, that's the thing, is like, they do these landscape shots, and X, it does have characters there, but it shows that, you know, it's a party-based game, there's multiple people there, but it's not the characters that are the main focal point of that, it's the skell. Your character is in a skell there, looking at across the landscape. It's really good. But so, you know, there's a bit of a nostalgia factor there, and also kind of, you know, playing to how the series markets. So I have a few ideas, some of which kind of I've heard and kind of adapted a bit. But, you know, some basically kind of guesses at what the game will be like. You know, I'm guessing this, and a lot of people guess this. The main character is going to have a name, similar to how Shulk was Shulk. You could not change his name. You could not, you know, customize Shulk. Shulk was Shulk. You got him. He was the character. And basically the idea I've heard is that a lot of people are hoping that they kind of split up, like, you know, you customize your character in the X series. So Xenoblade Chronicles X, Xenoblade Chronicles X2, you know, those ones you would have character customization in. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you will only have your character. It allows the story to be much more defined around that character and their interactions. They can increase the amount of, you know, voice acting between. I mean, just look at Breath of the Wild once again. Link's name in that is Link. It allows the, you know, voice acting to work much easier. They can mention his name. That's why in, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles X, you aren't the main character of the game. Elma is. You are not the leader of the team. It's Team Elma. You are a person on her team because they needed someone to refer to that isn't you. I mean, like, Mass Effect got around that by having just your last name is Shepard, everyone refers to you as Shepard. You know, that was their way around. Like, you have to kind of work around character customization to do that. So, you know, it allows them to make it much more character-driven and story-driven of a game. But also, mechons might not be in the game. That's just kind of a guess of mine. I have no guarantees of that. I have no evidence to that. It's just like, I didn't see any, and if the enemy was different, that would be a cool, you know, way to mix up the main series. Also, you know, Bionis, Mechonis, or whatever they're called, the two titans, are nowhere to be seen in it. So I don't know if this is a direct sequel so much as a spiritual successor. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles X was taking Xenoblade Chronicles and kind of making a spiritual successor, but also varying the formula quite a bit. And then this could be a kind of a spiritual successor. It is the second Xenoblade Chronicles title in the same vein as the original, but with difference, but with a difference in the plot and the enemies. Like, because if the mechons are in it, that, I mean, I'm fine with that, but I feel like it would be really cool to see a new kind of, you know, these are the new antagonists kind of thing. Maybe even have mechons there and slowly reveal that they're not the antagonists in it. Maybe even have them be protagonists. I mean, spoilers for Xenoblade Chronicles X, but a lot of the aliens that you fight that are sentient, like the prone, you start to get them in New LA over time as you complete mainly side quests. So you kind of you get them to join forces with you. You know, you thought they were the antagonists. You found out that they weren't the antagonists. They end up becoming protagonists. At least some of them. So it's like, kind of do something like that. Surprise us. You know, mix it up a bit. That's the thing I want. So one of the biggest things that's new about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the art style. A lot of people, I mean, the first game's art style is a bit harder to define. The first game's art style was pretty muddy. That's the easiest way to describe it. They tried to go for realistic. There was so much detail everywhere else, and it was on the Wii, and it was on the 3DS. So they had to limit the graphics a lot. But it looks to be a bit more anime, or not necessarily more anime, but a different style of anime. Like, Xenoblade Chronicles X used a very like a combination of realism and anime, which ended up making it somewhat more like, oh, this is just, you know, kind of that kind of semi-realistic style of anime where, you know, the characters aren't kind of weird looking designs, like their eyes aren't crazy large and stuff like that. But I mean, there were definitely some characters that were much more anime looking in the game. It's just like, it was kind of a semi-realistic art style, almost like, you know, Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess was kind of a semi-realistic cross between realism and anime. I'm not a huge fan of the current art style of the game, but that's not to say it won't grow on me, because it very well might. You know, it has a lot of time before it comes out, and even if it's while I'm playing it, you know, if it will probably grow on me at some point, and at some point I'll probably be like, I like this art style more than the original game, or maybe even more than X. I will say the environment in the game is beautiful. Regardless of what you think of the character designs and art styles, the environment is amazing. It is even more lush than Xenoblade Chronicles X. There is way more grass. It is beautiful. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles X is a beautiful game. It is, you know, a lot of people like to talk down the Wii U. This game, you know, X had such amazing graphics, and people, you know, talk about, oh, well, the pop-in was bad, or the load times on textures and stuff was bad. I'm like, yeah, it's loading off a disc. That's why they released DLC update things, which I didn't get due to their size. But yeah, it's like, it is really, really well done on the Switch. And it looks a bit more refined compared to Xenoblade Chronicles X. You know, the lighting looks a bit more smooth. The lighting in X could be jagged sometimes, or just a bit diffuse or over-exaggerated in some ways. And some of that could be chalked up to the new art style in the game, being slightly more anime, slightly more cel-shaded like. It kind of made the lighting engine a bit easier to look smooth, or they made the lighting engine kind of make everything look a bit smoother, and because of that, the style kind of hides those polygons a bit better. I don't know if that's the reason it looks more refined to me than X does, but it just kind of, when I look at it, the art style looks more cohesive and refined than Xenoblade Chronicles X's. I mean, there's really nothing more than that. I mean, I love Xenoblade Chronicles X. I really love Xenoblade. I want to play the original at some point. It's just, I didn't really get the chance. I chose, really, I did a poll to see what I should buy for my 3DS. It was Majora's Mask 3D or Xenoblade Chronicles X, or sorry, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Majora's Mask 1. And I love Majora's Mask and Majora's Mask 3D. So, you know, that wasn't a loss to me. I did want to play Xenoblade Chronicles, but it's like I was already getting X soon. And I'd heard that X is faster paced, and if you play X first, you're not going to really, you know, like the original as much, or feel at least as comfortable with the original as much. So I kind of held off on that. And so that's actually, that is a thing I kind of hope that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 does, is slightly increase the speed, maybe slow it down a bit from X, but kind of increase the speed of combat, or at least make it smoother. There's a lot of time in Xenoblade Chronicles X where, because your basic attacks do so little damage, you are cycling through your moves, and that's it. You're cycling through your moves, someone will say, hey, use this move, and now all of yours are on cooldown. You know, you can't do anything because, you know, that move's on cooldown for 8 seconds. It's like, the battle was really fast-paced, but then you would run out of stuff to do, especially when you're in your scout and the cooldowns are like 20-30 seconds. It's insane. You're like, okay, use this. Hey, I need this. I can't do that. I have a 20 more second cooldown there. Oh, well, I can't activate overdrive for, you know, 30,000 TP. now it's a 15-second cooldown. It's not that, or now it's a 10-second cooldown, or something like that. Like, it's not that helpful. So I feel like either increasing the speed at which you can fight, or I don't know how smoothly Xenoblade Chronicles, the original's combat went, but kind of find a middle ground between them. Maybe increase the power of basic attacks, because that was a big issue I had, was the basic attacks are so weak. They do nothing in Xenoblade Chronicles X. It's like you need to be using your actual arts, but your arts have such long cooldowns. It's like, if you don't use them in the proper cycle and no one's calling for you to use them at the right times or something, it goes downhill fast. But I haven't played the first game, but if it's necessary for this game, I'm definitely going to get it at some point before I play this one. Knowing that, X sold pretty well, the original on the 3DS sold pretty well, there's a fan, there's kind of a cult following behind it, there's Smash representation. They're probably going to not run into the same stock issues with this game that they did with the original, where it wound up being hundreds of dollars to buy a physical copy. And that was before they had digital copies. So I mean, that is a plus. You can always buy the digital copy, but if you want the physical one, I'm hoping that they keep that out on the market. But I mean, really, that's everything we've got for this game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it, but there's not much information. Hopefully we'll get more at some point. But I mean, even if we don't, that just means we get to discover everything ourselves. So, that's about it. There's nothing more to say. So, I guess, thanks for watching. I hope you loved Disc. And if you want to check out my other Nintendo hype trains, if you didn't see, ARMS, Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I think are the other 3. I think there's 3. Does this tell me how many pages I have in this? Yeah, 5. So yeah, the other 3 recent hype trains, they're all in the playlist. They might be on the side ribbon as well, I don't know. But yeah, go check out that stuff. If you want to see my thoughts and opinions on other, upcoming Nintendo titles, there's one more hype train coming up. So, I guess, get hyped. It's the easiest way to put it. Alrighty. Bye. Farewell. I hope I already said we hope you love Disc, or I hope you love Disc. If not, I hope you love Disc. Just putting that out there. Alrighty. Bye. I know I said the watching. Bye. Thanks for watching our video. If you want to check out a video recommended for you, click the thumbnail on the left. If you want to check out our most recent video, click the thumbnail on the right. We post a lot more on Facebook and Google+, so be sure to check us out there. Links are in the description below.